There are a lot of financial gurus out there that will tell you to stay away from debt no matter what, like it's some kind of a disease. Some might even call you an idiot for having any debt. While there's a bunch of differences and advantages of being debt-free, there are some instances where debt is good. What is up, bubs? And welcome to the basic concept. And in this video, I will cover the differences between the good, the bad, and even the ugly debt. Before we get started, a quick reminder to help support the channel by hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Additionally, Webull is currently giving away 2 free stocks valued at $1,000 each and a chance of getting an iPhone as their current promotion. Check out their link in the description to support the channel and pick up some free stuff. A definite win-win. And with that, let's get right into the video. Let's start with the ugly debt, which would be credit card debt. Worst kind in my opinion. Reason being is that the longer you let it sit there and only make minimum payments, the higher the balance becomes and it gets worse by the day. Can you believe that some credit card companies charge you an APR interest that is calculated per day basis instead of yearly or monthly? I did make a video on my channel breaking down APR. If you're interested, I'll link that in below. But basically what happens is once your payment is due, it starts accruing interest. The longer that goes on, the more interest you end up paying. So that Gucci baby onesie you bought isn't just $240. After a year, it could cost you as much as $1,000. Let that sink in. The more credit cards you owe balance to, the uglier it gets. This type of debt is ugly, in my opinion, because it has no return on your investment. Secondly, almost everyone has a credit card and they don't really explain how much it costs up front. But using credit cards this way is basically burning money to buy unnecessary things or overpriced things. Let's move on to a little bit less uglier but still really bad debt. This is a pretty broad category. Pretty much anything that you are paying more than 5% interest on is a bad debt. So an expensive car loan, financing furniture or electronics would mostly fall in this category. Simply put, it's hard to make that money back. Let's look at it from a time perspective. Let's say you do really well and make $100,000 a year, or roughly $50 an hour, and you buy a $50,000 car with your great credit score and get a 5% APR for 72 months. To pay this off, you would have to work 300 hours or almost 2 months of your salary just to cover the interest on this loan. And that's at 5% only. On top of that, this debt costs you even more money to simply drive it, and really no return on your investment. Pretty much any kind of debt that is not making you money in return would go in either bad or ugly category. Let's move on to the good debt. In order to completely understand this, you need to understand inflation. If you don't have a good grasp on it, I'll link a video below that explains it. If you have a loan that's equal to or slightly higher than the inflation rate, that could be a good debt. Let's use your house for example. You purchase a $300,000 house on a 30-year fixed rate of 3.9%. That's the average right now, is between 3.49 and 5%. That's just above inflation. So if you left your money sitting idle, it would have cost you almost as much as the interest on the house. And you don't get the house that way. With this debt, even though you will pay a ton of interest, you get the house, which increases in value over time, and your interest rate was barely above inflation rate. So after adjusting for inflation, you basically got the house with no interest rate. Another example of good debt would be starting a business with a loan. If it's a good business and ends up being successful, does it really matter how much interest you pay on the loan? Actually, I guess it would. You wouldn't want to be negative on your income, but you get the point, right? And lastly, probably the most controversial debt is student loans. While some student loans are just a bad idea, most will pay off in the end. For example, if the field you're going into pays $150,000 a year and you take out a $30,000 student loan, That's a good debt considering you should be able to pay it off within a year, and you should pay it off within a year if that's the case. But let's say you're already making $130,000 a year. Well, now I would have to side with Dave Ramsey on that one. Similarly, if the field you're going into pays $70,000 a year and the loan is for $50,000, that's just not smart because by the time you pay it off, you're going to be retired. Here is a perfect real life example of good debt. A friend of mine used his credit card to buy 10 pairs of shoes that were high in demand. He sold them on eBay within 2 weeks of purchasing them, making almost 300% profit before his credit card was even due. He then paid off the balance without getting charged any interest on it, keeping the difference as a profit. The moral of this video is that debt is a tool, like a hammer. In the right person's hand, it can literally build a house, but in the wrong person's hand, it can also destroy it. Let me know your debt victories, stories, or the horrors in the comment section below, so we can learn from each other's mistakes. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.